My name's Nina. I designed Little Bubbles baby set. Here I have my sketch, which was actually done after the design process started. The beginning of the design process was experimentation with the Little Bubbles stitch. You can see a pretty loose swatch here where I was figuring out the basics of the stitch and also deciding if I could do knitted in button bands, which I decided was not going to happen based on how this looked. But I really did like the texture of this piece, so I started to imagine something like a little boho sweater with colorful patterning on the yoke for a little baby. So the next step was to try out this Little Bubbles stitch and see if it could handle the increases necessary for a circular yoke sweater. And to do that, I think you can see that I added an extra row of the background color between the bubbles, and that's where all of the increases are hidden. So this swatch let me know. You can see it looks a little bit like a neckline and a shoulder. This was enough to let me know that this would work for the yoke of a sweater. And then we went from there and just designed a plain old top-down circular sweater that had this adorable pattern on the yoke. This is the smallest size, which has only 4 repeats of the bubbles pattern. The larger sizes, though, have a bigger yoke with 5 repeats of the colors. One of the reasons that I think this pattern is so good for babies is because unlike Fair Isle, there's no floats on the back of the work. All of the slipped and drop stitches are caught in the neck stitches, so it's really hard for babies to snag their fingers when you're putting this on them, which I think will be appreciated by any mom that you give this to. And of course, Comfy's machine washable, so it'll stand up to a lot of abuse. The other feature of this design are the one-row jump stripes. And this is the initial swatch that I worked up for this. I was thinking that it would be nice to integrate the colors from the bubbles into the main color and the background color from the pattern in a different way than was used on the yoke, to sort of bring it together as a coherent design. Though because of the amounts of yarn we used, the design changed a little bit, and the background color didn't get integrated where I thought it would. But this is a really fun technique that allows you to make tiny stripes using a circular needle. This whole piece is knit on one circular needle, and then the sleeves are picked up and knit in the round. So you can see again that there's very little mess on the wrong side in order to achieve this effect, and I think it looks rather cute. And then to finish it off, we've got a little hat. This piece is worked in the round, so there's actually 2 sets of directions for the Little Bubbles stitch. Since this version of the stitch doesn't have any increases in it, you can see that the bubbles are placed a little bit closer together than they were on the yoke, where it had to be hidden. And then we finish off with the one-row stripes and a couple of little ears. Or, if you prefer, little tassels, which is what I prefer. And then finally, for the smaller sizes, there will be enough yarn left over to make a little pair of coordinating booties, which have the same colors and the one-row stripes in a slightly different comparison. So it's coordinating, but not perfectly matching. And the thing that I think is great about this is that it really doesn't take a high level of skill to execute the stitch patterns. The bubble stitch is for every 8 rows of plain knitting, there's 1 row where you drop stitches and pick them up again. And it can be tricky at first, but once you get it, then it's just as fast as regular old stockinette stitch. And those are the Little Bubbles baby sets.
Knit Picks is passionately committed to affordable luxury knitting. We offer the highest quality knitting products designed by the pickiest and most obsessed knitters you'll ever meet. We go directly to the factory to develop our own luxurious natural fiber yarn and high-quality needles. And by doing so, we're able to offer our exclusive knitting supplies at amazingly low prices. Visit us at www.knitpicks.com to discover how affordable luxury knitting can be.